So I had a great time in the USA last September 2022, and I thought I'd put together this video just to show some of the highlights from that tour. So this is the first clinic in Gilroy, California. I was very nervous to begin, but I was very excited to see a good turnout and really, really lovely people and horses show up. So we were working in a group clinic format, and I had a horse to demonstrate with groundwork and for riding. And this little guy here, his name is Storm, and he was my groundwork demo buddy. He's a Arabian Appaloosa cross, 4 years old, and as you can see, he was making himself quite comfortable at the beginning of the clinic. It was really helpful to have him to demonstrate with. He was very calm and connected, and could really understand what I was showing him for the first time. And often I would switch him with other horses if other horses needed some help. So here I'm working with one of the participant horses. He was a young Morgan gelding, 2 years old, who was getting a little bit invasive. So I started working with some of the strategies which can help with being invasive and being a young guy feeling all over people. There are many strategies to deal with a space invading horse, and the ones that I prefer to use are long-term resolutions rather than short-term fixes. And in a clinic environment, we needed to use both, some short-term fixes and then implement the baby steps of some long-term fixes as well. It was boiling hot on day one at Gilroy, but I still wanted to help both the people and the horses here. So here, after asking permission to touch this participant, I was trying to help her feel back into her body and feel grounded again around horses. We had the friend of the little black gelding from before. This guy was also really interesting to work with. There was some mother-foal bonding. Here's Storm with some mother-foal bonding. And there's the end of the mother-foal bonding, giving him my smelly hat to remember me by. And then here you can see he's holding the space a little bit better. So that did happen every now and then too. Then it was so hot that we decided to do the riding in the afternoon in the indoor arena. And this was my friend Sebastian that I demoed with on day one. And yeah, it was really interesting to be able to teach them from horseback. So this is day two. You can see Storm's already sitting in my pocket a little bit better. We became good friends throughout the clinic. He really impressed me. And then I had this guy to ride in the afternoon on day two. I think he has a hunter jumping background. I'm thanking very much the owners who allowed me or facilitated horses for me to demo with, because it really helps me to be able to do the work that I'm asking them to do. And so here I'm helping, actually my host, Kate, work on facilitating range of motion in the shoulder and find also some off-balance moments through the shoulder so that her horse could have better balance recovery rather than getting locked into positions and getting worried about them. So my horse here, he's demonstrating that really nicely for me. I hadn't practiced that with him before either, so I was really happy about that. And we got some nice results there with Kate and her Andalusian, getting the shoulders mobilized, permission to go forward and open in the front of the body, and finding original balance in the front of the body. On this photo, I'm checking the tail to see if I could get a trot transition without a tail swish. And I had to raise my voice every now and then because it was a little bit noisy at this stable, but we had a great time, and I'm thanking all the people who joined me in California at Gilroy. Thank you very, very much, and I hope to see you soon. Next clinic was in Longmont, Colorado at Wild Song Ranch. Wild Song Ranch is a wonderful boarding barn where the horse operation is run by Elizabeth and Georgia together, called Hatha Equus. They're very, very focused on meeting the needs of private horse people. They do natural dressage, they're doing positive reinforcement, a lot of intrinsin-friendly training principles as well. And I was happy to do a clinic for their community and welcome some outside guests as well. We had a really nice turnout. This is a really impressive facility with beautiful views of the Rocky Mountains in the background. They've got 40 acres and three, not one, not two, but three paddock track paradises on that property. Many people say that the boarding barn is supposed to be their happy place, and it rarely is that. But this truly was the happy place of the people who board there. And you can see Elizabeth and Georgia were helping me at the clinic. Anyone who needed a little bit more support outside of the group learning situation, Elizabeth and Georgia stepped in to coach them, which I was very grateful for when they had time to do so. This is Stephanie Lindsley. She is also a horse trainer who runs clinics. She was heavily pregnant at the time of the clinic, and her beautiful Australian stock horse mare took wonderful care of her and really demonstrated their training at a high level. Please go follow them at Infinity Horsemanship. And this is the part I will just step back and show several video clips from the clinic with the original audio. So enjoy.
You got it. You got it, mate. Beautiful. B, C. So there's an A and a B and a C to this. A is the arm out to the side. B is when the horse starts following through, and it will be maybe a fifth of the circle to start off with. And if you can't even get a fifth of the circle, get a single step. If you can't get a single step, we get a look. We constantly go down rather than escalate. Did you see how athletic he was over his hindquarters now? So eventually this does become working on the hindquarters too. But a lot of horsemanship practices get after the hindquarters way too quickly, making them heavy on the forehand. You get forehand breakdown. That inside curve here that I had established. So I'm going to look up at the horse and I'm going to draw them in. And I'm going to start by going oblique. I'm not going to go straight on from their solar plexus. I go oblique. And they'll come in nose to my solar plexus. This is the most simple version that can become quite sophisticated. In fact, for me later it becomes academic work in hand. It even becomes riding later. I attach their nose to my solar plexus. And we're going to count down from 3 to 1. When we get to 1, we're going to go. Yeah, let's get a bit more of a walk. Okay, are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Not bad. Not bad. Who's learning who? How to take us a turn. Well played, horse. Good. Back to a walk. Now we're grandma's horse. Good. Next time we sit that canter transition, I want you to sit deep into your heels, lift the reins, and think about going uphill, not down. I had someone say to me once, how do I get my horse's canter transition more uphill? So my boss said, Sammy, when he goes uphill, he goes to the moon. Yeah. I said, well, for 6 months, I took him to the base of the hill. And at the base of the hill was the only place I ever did a canter transition for 6 months. And at the top of the hill, I dismounted, gave him a lunch, and then walked him home. So now, every time we canter transition, he thinks I'm going uphill. And they went, no, it was kind of like meaning like with a bit and a stick and a cue and an aid. And I was like, can't help you. My colleague might. Alright, ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay, good. Watch that inside shoulder. See if you can lift it up. Lift up the inside shoulder. Yes, like that. Like that. Good. Oh. Take it forward. Take it forward. See how long you can carry it on your own. Careful with the reins. You want to look for that softness there and that openness in front. Change legs for me. Double sit. Good. Or double rise. Double sit again. Good. He's like, what you doing with your body up there? So his go-to is to down energy. Yeah. He's had a lot of training in him though. 2, 1. They just took exactly the same step, Royale and Cheetah, at the same time went with the same leg in the same direction. That's the herding instinct of a horse. They can't help it but share movement at the same time. Esperanza too, you watch this, babe. Huh? That's your future. Like this. Take notes, Esperanza. Take notes. Look at her, she's going, no one's dying. No one's free. Why are they letting the monkeys doing that? Awesome. Love it. And Thunder wants to peel off to his buddy Burn. Yeah, they're friends, aren't they? Yeah, I see that. He's just checking in. He's asking if Burn's okay. He's shaking.
But literally, I was like scratching like this, and he was like, oh.
I have a friend, so this is him saying, I'm worried about my feet in the front, because that's putting a lot of pressure on one side of my foot, so I'm just going to wait there. Can I get a step? A step. Good. I have a friend called Shaylee Evans, does animal communication. She's awesome and spookily accurate and really pragmatic, like girl next door, corn fed, straight up, really nice. And I was like, I said to her, like, when you're working with a client, people expect this kind of profound message from the horse. She's like, yeah, they expect it, but most of the time the horses are just asking for butt scratches. And we make it this whole thing. And then it's like, I don't want a butt scratch, man, you know? This is my food, butt scratch. That's insane. Let me sort out the feet. It takes me a bit of time to make sure I'm okay there. Gorgeous. Love it. Thanks so much. There, he's out in front. Now I'm in the riding position. Yeah. Now I can match steps. Please.
So the next clinic was in New Hampshire, so I flew over into Boston and then had a beautiful drive up into New Hampshire to the small town of Stratford, the home of one of my long-term clients online, Chelsea, and her husband Michael, who have set up a beautiful little home farm for them and for their friends. And we welcomed a community of folks who are looking for alternative training practices in a really peaceful, intimate environment. We got really lucky with the weather. It was absolutely perfect, and we had a lovely day exploring emotional horsemanship with some auditors who sat on the lawn to watch. Some clinicians don't allow auditors. I do. I find it's really important that people of different budgets and even people who don't have horses themselves are able to access quality information and education. Because there was a long time when I didn't have horses and I would have loved to have been able to go to clinics, even though I didn't have the budget to participate with a horse or even a horse to participate with. So that's really important to me. Some clinicians are worried about people watching something and then trying their methods without supervision and destroying the quality of their methods. For me personally, I understand that as soon as I teach a method to someone else, the method doesn't belong to me, but it belongs to them. That's the way I see it. But I appreciate other clinicians and trainers who don't see it that way too. So we had a nice day with, I believe, 6 horses at this clinic, which was more than enough for the space that we had. And we really got to explore a lot of different elements together. At this point, I had almost totally lost my voice, so I appreciated the quiet environment so that everyone could hear me. This little gelding here, he's actually an off-the-track thoroughbred belonging to my host, Chelsea, and I've been working with him online for almost a year at this point. And by the end of the clinic, Chelsea had her first ride on him ever. His last time that he was ridden was at his last race 3 years ago. And she managed to get on, bitless, calm, perfect. It was just a really wonderful way to finish this clinic. Some of our participants had horses that were tricky to load, but based on the techniques we were working on, all of the horses loaded really easily at the end of the day, even though we didn't practice the loading at all. Just by virtue of the handling and training exercises we tried, they got better. Shout out to Elsie here, who drove down 9 hours from Ottawa, Canada to participate at this clinic with her lovely horse Ike, also a client I've been working with online. So it was great to meet them, and thank you so much to Elsie and Stephanie for making the trip down. Chelsea here had a beautiful heritage barn over 100 years old that just ticked all of my horse barn fantasies. It was so beautiful. And they're really dedicating themselves to reclaiming this heritage farm back over 200 years old. This farm is, and they're really claiming it back. Had some really friendly farm dogs there that I loved to meet because I missed my dogs back home. And we just had a really great time at this clinic, and this is definitely one I'm going to repeat every year.
Chelsea, say hello.
Hello.
And here we are. Wow.
So then I flew out to Idaho, so heading back west. And I was really excited to go also to conservative horse communities, not just clients I already knew or already progressive communities. I was really excited to have some clinics in some more rural locations as well. So I was really happy to find myself at Burt's Arena in Nampa, Idaho, just outside of Boise. This is the clinic where I got the least amount of photos and videos done, but I've got a couple here which my host Fiona sent to me, and I'll link them here. And as I make this recording, I've already confirmed that I'm returning to Idaho next spring, so I'll be back at Burt's Arena before you know it.
Oh, and your shoulder's tight, isn't it? Your shoulder's tight, isn't it, my friend? Can I have? Your shoulder's tight. Can I have? Oh, Fiona, we can do much better than these feet. We can do so much better. With these muscular horses, it's a little bit like a human bodybuilder. They get so muscular they can't wipe their own ass anymore. Sorry, I've got a really crude sense of humour, guys. And his mouth like a sailor. I really appreciate your kindness on that. But his scapula is slightly locked here. These almost muscle-bound horses.
Look at you, Scribbles. You're getting a massage. What a good day.
Concentration. Okay, can we go there? And I will wait. It's never taken longer than 20 minutes. The only escalation I will ever do is step into that shoulder and ask for that shoulder to step away from me. That's perfect. He follows through, and I come back here. I draw him in, straight on this time, to my solar plexus, and I pause. I'll take you through that again. There's an 8 going to do sit and stay. No, you're fine. Don't engage right now. I want you to hold your own space. You, the horse, the space in between you. Very important. Now, those trainers who say, bad horse, get out of my space, it's about the space. Don't make it about the horse. If the horse is invading the space, just press that space, a sit and a stay, create that space, make value with that space. If the value in the space is this one, why would the horse want to find value in that space at all? I'm so sorry. I ain't that guy. Okay? So on Breton, Hispano Breton, one of their sport uses in Spain, it's pretty horrible. They pack them with armour, like medieval armour on the sides, take them into the bull ring, and they train them to stand like a brick shithouse as the bull's around them on the side. This is one of the jobs that the Bretons have in Spain. So try teaching a Breton how to leg yield. You have to have inner thighs of steel, because you put the yield on, he just goes, I'm bred to stay. But he can. He goes like this for me. It's beautiful. It takes a long time. But thank God I had him, because he really taught me this stuff. Good.
So then I flew out to Wyoming. Can you imagine that someone called Emotional Horsemanship, a former professional ballet dancer, found themselves in Northeast Wyoming running a clinic? Well, there I was. And, quote, one of the participants said to me, "We were shocked as shit to hear you were coming here." But there I came anyway, and so credit to my hosts, Emily and Scott Arthun at Arthun Enterprises, for having me out, for having the open mind to listen to what I had to say. And this was really a clinic highlight for me because I was quite trepidatious about coming out there, but was surprised to find absolutely the perfect participants, perfect community forming here in Wyoming, open and receptive to different ways of training horses. And so we had a really good time over 2 days together. I was told that the hardest part of the clinic was the long lunch break that I insist upon, a 2-hour lunch break. I do this mostly for the horse's benefit, but not something a Wyomingan is really accustomed to having. Hardworking, industrious people they are. Really, really, really enjoyed my time in Wyoming. One of the highlights of the tour was my host, Emily, seated here on the quarter horse in front of me. Took me out to one of their cow herds that lives on 1,500 acres, about 20 minutes down the road from the ranch, and showed me the basics of working cows. And having grown up on a cattle farm, she believes in slow and quiet cattle work, keeping it as natural and as peaceful as possible for the cow's welfare. And I really, really enjoyed this. This was a lovely ranch mare named Sophie who showed me the ropes. This is something, as an Australian who had lived on continental Europe all of their adult life, I hadn't ever had the opportunity to work livestock from the back of a horse, which to an American sounds incredible because so many people in America have worked stock with horses, but it's not common in continental Europe. So I was really happy for that opportunity privately as a horse person and to factor in at least one afternoon of really personal work there and personal experience there as a trainer and as a horse person to work on that. So that was great. As I said to my host, Emily, she's ruined me forever because now I need cows when I get my home in the future. Because putting all of the elements together in horsemanship to discover that you and the horse could share a mutual activity together, such as carefully and quietly moving cows, was really a page turner for me. And I really appreciated the sympathetic, gentle, and common sense manner that Emily did work her cows with. And I couldn't have thought of someone better to learn from initially. So big thank you to Emily, and I certainly plan on returning to Wyoming once a year to meet again with this community and to share more with them with emotional horsemanship in the future. This is Sarah, one of the participants at the clinic, who I was really happy to have there, who showed this, one of her geldings that she has used positive reinforcement on, and they were also working bridleless at some point. And I bet you didn't expect to see that in Northeast Wyoming, but it's there, guys. So we always got to keep our minds open to possibilities. And I got to watch some of their roping practice and cow work practice in the evenings. And they gave me a lovely horse to ride both days. So yeah, we had a great time.
So commit to the trot now. Commit to the trot. And in the corner, ask for the canter or the lope. And now, good. And commit to the, yeah, even better. Good. Good. And again, commit to the trot, back to the trot, balance in the trot. Good, and right in front of me, bend her in a circle, canter around. Canter circle. Good, circle, 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 circle. Good, good. We need to get a canter at a circle. Yes.
So thank you everyone who came to Wyoming, and from one extreme to the other, 24 hours after the Wyoming clinic, I found myself back on the West Coast in California, this time in Santa Cruz, at the Horse and Heart Ranch. It is a non-profit rescue and education organization on a beautiful hilltop overlooking Monterey Bay. I spent about a week with these guys in and out. We had a wonderful 2-day clinic together. The participants at this clinic were only private community members or students of this ranch, so no outside people could haul in here. So this is why it was a private clinic. But we were facilitating a small number of outside auditors here. Again, a really intimate environment. I have no photos or videos from the actual 2 clinic days, but we had a 3rd day of private lessons where we have some beautiful photographs from Trisha, who was one of the participants herself. And I'm really grateful for these photos because they really show how magical this environment was. The farm was on top of a hill surrounded by redwoods. We had a lot of different horse people here, different ages, different abilities. We had beginners all the way through to Ella here, who is the daughter of my host Laurie. Ella and her horse Blueberry here are former competitive jumpers and now turned in a totally different direction with their horsemanship. And really, really enjoyed reuniting these two, not under saddle, but at least in riding again. And we also had non-ridden equines. We had a miniature pony, non-ridden equestrians and ridden equestrians in this clinic, total beginners, experienced people, all different age groups. So it was a really wonderful environment, very rich environment with many different thoughts and many different inputs. Lots of very spiritual people here, which I really respect and admire. So it was really exciting for me overall in the clinic tour to discover that emotional horsemanship is interesting not just to one type of person, but a whole range of people. That there are people in every sector of the equestrian community who care deeply about their horse's emotional experience. And that was really, really heartwarming for me to discover that. And so this is definitely a clinic I'm going to repeat. Up in Santa Cruz, they were like family to me while I was there. This is an interesting lesson we had with Jay, where we were exploring how to handle a horse throughout a variety of situations which might worry the horse potentially, and the life lessons that could apply to in real life, because horsemanship is so much more than just what you do with the horse, but it's about your life as well. And finally, I found myself in the Carmel Valley, about an hour and a half drive south from Santa Cruz, with Josh and Nahani, who are long-term clients and friends of mine. They asked me if I had some time at the end of my trip, if I'd be willing to come and work with them and their 2 Icelandic mares privately, and I agreed. So I conducted a fully private 2 days, but we worked half days only with their 2 Icelandic mares that they're just getting started in their journey with. And if I could look in a dictionary under the label deeply caring equestrians, Nahani and Josh, you would just see their photographs there. They're currently accommodated at Stone Pine Estate in Carmel Valley, but they're definitely looking forward to having their horses at home when they build their own equestrian center and hosting me for a clinic in their own place in 4 or 5 years' time. So again, I've been working with Nahani for about 3 years on and off again. And so we continue these long-term bonds together, and it was wonderful to finish with them here in California. Okay, and gentle leg yield now. Beautiful, beautiful. Little more. Yeah, great. Good. Keep her straight now and come back. Good. Okay. So I want to reach out and say a big thank you from the bottom of my heart to all of the hosts, participant auditors, and even the homestay folks who accommodated me in their homes during this tour. Thank you everyone who supplied photography and everyone involved in the tour. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you again.